Okay, so once again, welcome back. So in our previous video, we have discussed about force and pressure. In pressure, we have basically discussed about the various aspects of pressure. That was for the pressure exerted by solid. Because in the various examples which I have taken, we have always taken the force in terms of the weight acting in downward direction. So whatever the things we have discussed, that was true only for the pressure exerted by solid. So our next topic in continuation is the pressure exerted by liquid. So as we know that normally a matter exists in three possible states: solid, liquid, and gas. So what is the pressure exerted by liquid and how it is different from the pressure exerted by the solid, which we have discussed in our last video. So unlike solids, that the pressure exerted by them is always in downward direction, the liquids used to exert the pressure in all the directions. Let's have an example. If you take a solid piece of block made up of wood or something, then here the molecules are very tightly bonded. They are restricted to move away from each other. So the only force they exert is in terms of their weight in downward direction, which is equal to the algebraic sum of the individual weights of all the molecules. But unlike solid, in liquid, suppose you take a container, cylindrical container, it is filled with, say, water. Now we know that in the liquid, the intermolecular spacing is quite large as compared to the solid, and intermolecular force of attraction is V. So the molecules of a liquid are free to move within the liquid from one place to another place, unlike solid. So suppose if you take one liquid is going randomly like this, one is like this, one is like this. Now these liquids which are free to move within the surface from one part to another part, while the movement they used to collide with the surface. They used to collide with the surface. And while colliding with the surface, they used to exert some force that is called collision force. And as a result of that, this force acting normally on a given unit area, they exert some pressure. So we have seen in solids, the pressure is exerted always in downward direction. Unlike that, the pressure exerted by the liquid is in all the directions, and especially the pressure exerted by the liquid on the side walls is called lateral pressure. The pressure exerted by the liquid on the side wall is called lateral pressure. And definitely in downward direction also it is exerting the pressure equal to the weight of the liquid. So this is the basic conceptual difference between the pressure exerted by solid and liquid. Solid exerts the pressure only in downward direction, whereas the liquid exerts the pressure in all the directions. The reason is what? The molecules are lightly bonded and they are free to move, and they always are in random motion in. So while moving, they used to collide with the surface, they exert a force, and as a result of that, a pressure is exerted. We can have some examples by which we can verify that the liquid exerts the pressure in all the directions. For example, if you take a container and partially it is filled with water. Now if you make a hole on the side wall, what you will observe? You will see that the water starts flowing out like this. If you make a hole on this side, you will see the water starts flowing like this. So it means what? That the liquid exerts pressure in all the directions. Now, if you observe this two flow, you can find out the water coming out from this hole H1 is falling near to the container, whereas from the H2 it is falling far away from the container. It means, okay, the liquid exerts the pressure in all the directions, even though there are some factors on which the pressure exerted by the liquid depends. So let's have the factors on which the pressure exerted by the liquid depends. The first one is the liquid pressure is directly proportional to the density of liquid. It means more is the density of liquid, more is the pressure at a given depth. More is the density of a liquid, more is the pressure exerted at a given depth. For example, if you take two hollow cylindrical glass tubes of same length, and at the bottom end you just fix a deflated balloon. You just fix a deflated balloon. Now, suppose this is A, this is B. Now pour in the test tubes A and B two different type of liquids. Say in the first one, we have poured a liquid for a given length h, whose density is d1. In the second one, for the same length h and of density d2. First thing what you will observe that this deflated balloon have started getting inflated. So this shows that the liquid exerts pressure. The inflammation shows that the liquid exerts pressure. Now, from the inflammation you can observe the inflammation is different in the two balloons, even though the liquid is filled up to the same length. The reason is what? It since D2 is greater than D1. The density poured in the test tube B is more than the density of the liquid poured in A. So it implies P2 is greater than P1. It means the pressure exerted by the liquid depends upon the density of the liquid. It means more is the density of a liquid for a given depth, more will be the pressure exerted by the liquid. More will be the pressure exerted by the liquid. Second one, liquid pressure is directly proportional to depth of liquid, the depth at which you are measuring the pressure. It means the deeper you go inside a water body, the more will be the pressure exerted by the liquid. So that is what the liquid pressure is directly proportional to the depth of the liquid. Now again, we will take the same type of similar glass tubes, open at both the ends. Now in this case, again we will fix a deflated balloon at the mouth in test tube A and B. Now the difference is what? In A we will partially fill it up to a length of H1. In this one we will fill up to a length of H2. Now as a result of the pressure exerted in downward direction, we will observe the inflammation in the balloon. But again the difference is what here? We will observe that the inflammation in B is again more than A. The reason is what? This time same type of liquid is filled in the both the test tubes, so they both have the same density, but the length is different. So the depth from the surface at which we are measuring the pressure is different. So since H2 is greater than H1, so P2 is greater than P1. It means the more is the depth at which we are measuring the pressure in a given liquid, the more will be the pressure. So the pressure depends upon the density of the liquid as well as the pressure depends upon the depth at which we are measuring in a given liquid. So we can summarize the consequences that the pressure exerted by a liquid is in all the directions equally. Second one, the pressure exerted by a liquid is directly proportional to the density of the liquid. The pressure exerted by a liquid is directly proportional to the depth at which the pressure is measured. So we have some of the consequences of this. The first one is, if you have observed the divers, whenever they used to go deep inside a ocean or a sea, what they do? They used to wear a special kind of suit. Why? Because the deeper they used to go inside the water body, the more will be the liquid pressure. So in order to sustain that pressure, they are used to wear a special kind of suit. They always wear a special kind of suit. Similarly, if you have seen the construction of any dam, so the dam is basically used to store large amount of water. So the bottom, the foundation, the bottom portion of any dam is always kept very broad. Why? Because when you fill the dam with water, at the bottom the liquid pressure is extremely large. The lateral pressure exerted by the liquid at a depth is very large. So in order to sustain this extreme large lateral pressure, they are constructed like that, so their base is very broad. So these are the consequences, the applications of the concept of pressure exerted by the liquid. The fourth one is, the pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth is same in all the directions. The pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth is same in all the directions. It means if you take a container which is filled with any liquid, suppose if there is a point P, and at this point the pressure acting in this direction is say P1, say the point is X, in this direction it is P2, in this direction it is P3, and in upward direction it is P4. So what does it mean? I have said that in any given liquid at a particular depth, at a particular point, the pressure exerted by the liquid is same in all the directions. It means P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3 is equal to P4. Now to verify this, we can use a device called manometer. So basically the manometer is a device which is used to verify that the pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth is same in all the directions, as well as it is also used to measure the pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth. So basically a manometer is a very simple device which can be constructed at home also. For that, you need to take a cardboard. On this cardboard, you can take a narrow flexible rubber tube and fix it on the cardboard in the shape of U, like this. Now, there must be a measuring scale behind this U-shaped tube which you have fixed. So that we can measure the length of the liquid displacement inside this tube. At one end, you can connect the U tube with the help of a funnel. At the mouth of the funnel, you just fix a polythene or a rubber material airtight so that the air should not go inside, neither come out. Now we pour water in this up to a particular level. Say we have poured the water in this U tube at mark A and B. Initially, both the liquids are at the same level. Now we will take a container which is filled with any type of liquid, say water or oil or something. Now you insert this funnel inside this liquid at a particular depth. Say up to point P. The moment you will insert this, the liquid will exert pressure in all the directions. So the pressure exerted on this rubber pad will push the air molecules inside this funnel in upward direction, which will transmit this pressure on the surface of the liquid at A. So this liquid will go in downward direction, and then the liquid at the end B will rise in upward direction. Now, at a fixed point P, suppose if the depression is here H1 and the rise in the level is here H2. Now at this point P, you change the direction of the funnel towards left or right in upward direction. What we will observe that there is no further change in the level of water or the liquid filled inside this tube at the point A and B. So this shows that the pressure exerted by the liquid at a depth in all the direction is always same. And second one, the difference between the levels of water or liquid at the two sides, say it is H, can be used to measure the pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth by a formula P is equal to H rho G, where H is the distance between the level of the water at the two sides, rho is the density of the liquid, and G is the force due to gravity. So manometer is the basically device which is used to measure the pressure exerted by a liquid at a given depth, and it can also be used to verify that the pressure exerted by liquid at a given depth is same in all the directions. So once again, the pressure exerted by a liquid, unlike solid, it exerts the pressure in all the directions. The pressure exerted by a liquid is directly proportional to the depth. More is the depth, more will be the pressure exertion. It is also directly proportional to the density of the liquid. It means more is the density of a liquid for a given depth, more will be the pressure exertion. Fourth one is the pressure exerted by the liquid at a given depth inside the water body is same in all the directions. So this was all about the pressure exerted by the liquid. Then the last one is Pascal law. Now what is Pascal law basically? According to Pascal law, the pressure transmission inside the liquid at any portion is equally transmitted throughout the liquid in all the directions. Once again, according to Pascal law, the pressure transmission inside a liquid at any point is equally transmitted throughout the liquid in all the directions. For example, if you take a vessel, or better you will take a spherical ball which is provided with 4 openings fixed with airtight pistons, and it is filled with any liquid. Suppose you have taken a spherical ball filled with any type of liquid, say water, having 4 openings fitted with airtight pistons. Say this is P1, better we will take in terms of A1, A2, A3 and A4, such that their area of cross section is same, A4, A3, A2 and A1. Now, if you press this piston at opening 4 in downward direction by applying any pressure P, what we will observe that all the remaining 3 pistons have started moving in outward direction. So first thing is proof, if we transmit any pressure in any part of a liquid, it is transmitted throughout the liquid in all the direction. It means when we have pressed this 4th piston in downward direction, the remaining 3 pistons have started moving in outward direction. Now if you measure the pressure at A1, A2 and AC, what you will get that if area of cross section is same, then P1 is equal to P2 is equal to P3 is equal to P. The P is the pressure which we have applied at the piston A4. So the area of cross section is A4. So this is what called Pascal law, and this is the law on which we have further implemented it, and we have designed hydraulic press, hydraulic lift, hydraulic braking system in automobiles and many more things. So this was all about the pressure exerted by liquid. In our next and last session, we will go through the pressure exerted by the gases, and we will discuss about atmospheric pressure, the factors on which the atmospheric pressure depends, how to measure the atmospheric pressure, a device used called barometer, and then the consequences of atmospheric pressure. Thank you, students.